artist. We actually have a shorter time than I hoped for this, and a lot to cover. So I'm just going to bring out one of the, I think one of the best fans the cinema has ever had, especially the American cinema. Now one of its best directors, Peter Bogdanovich. Shall we play with the microphones for a second?
Thank you for that. You can't see me behind this mic, but I'm here.
Well, actually, should I lower it a little so that your mouth is not...
Is it lowerable? Yeah. That's a little bit better. Now I can see you all. How was the print?
Great.
Beautiful.
This is the third time I've seen the movie on a big screen, and I just can't get over the fact that this was only your second movie and you hadn't made one for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years prior to that, since Target's, 4 years, I guess, to get that.
I think it was about 3.
3? So, I know that your late friend Sal Mineo gave you and Polly Platt the novel by Larry McMurtry. You were a Serbian kid from a Serbian background who lived in New York all his life, and this is a movie about a very, very different kind of culture than the one in which you grew up and that you knew. Can you tell me a little bit about your first experience of reading McMurtry's novel? If any images popped into your head, what the first image was, or if you waited until you got to the place. What happened in your mind when you read this novel to say, yeah, I can do this?
Well, I thought, Polly read it first, and she said, I don't know how you'd make it as a picture, but it's a good book. It's a good novel. And then I read it and had the same reaction. It was a good novel, but I don't know how the hell you make it as a picture. And usually that is an incentive to me to figure out how to solve something, because I think everything can be made into a picture somehow. And then it just popped into my head one day, well, the way to make it is to just make it. Make the book. It tells the story of the town from one football season to the next. And obviously there were many, many things we had to cut out of the book, small subplots and smaller characters. But basically the story, the thrust of the story was there. And it was just a question of attacking it with the same honesty and, forthrightness that the book did. Larry writes the best regional dialogue of anybody since Mark Twain, I think. And so the dialogue was all there. And it was just a question of constructing it. And basic construction was there in the story. But, it needed some work and some changes and so on, and we did it. Larry and I worked on it together, although he was, I must say, bored with it, because he'd written as a novel, he was dead tired of the characters. But he, as he said in some essay, he prevented me from going into Serbian romantic heights of extravagance. Something like that.
So I think he did describe you as being in a Serbian gloom for a lot of the process yourself.
Well, that's Larry.
Yeah. Can you remember the first time you saw the town, walking around it? What did you see it immediately with an eye to composition? Were you just kind of drinking it all in? What the heck did you make of it?
Well, we drove all around Texas. I said, let's go look around for the town. And Larry said, you want to see my hometown first? And I said, no, let's go everywhere else first. Save it for last. And we drove all around from Dallas down to Corpus Christi and back. And we found one town that was fair, and the rest of it wasn't right. So we took a plane from Corpus Christi back to Dallas, and then we drove up to Archer City, which is about an hour and a half from Dallas. And as we're driving into town, right away with that stoplight and so on, I said, well, this looks perfect. And Larry said, well, it ought to be. It's the town I wrote about. So everything was there. Everything we needed was there. And
so what happened when you looked at the main street, you looked at the stores? What were
it
you
looked
thinking?
a little bit too good. We had to dress it down a bit. And we had a 16mm camera taking, location shots. And it was in color. And when we looked at the color film, it looked too pretty. Because color has a tendency to prettify and glamorize everything. So that was one of the first hints that we should do it in black and white, which wasn't resolved for a while. I didn't think they'd let me make it in black and white. It was Orson Welles who pushed me to do it in black and white, pushed me to ask the producers. And I did, and it was pretty simple. They said, yeah, sure, all right, fine.
I was thinking when I read that, by the way, Mr. Bogdanovich has written 3 books that you must buy. I'm not suggesting it, you must if you love movies. They are Who the Devil Made It, Who the Devil Acted in It.
No,
and
who the hell's in it?
Who the Hell is in It, sorry. And so I cleaned you up there. And This is Orson Welles. All of them, you can just curl up with them for hours and hours and hours, and they'll change the way you see movies.
Thank you.
But to go back to black and white, when I read what Orson Welles said to you about black and white, how it makes every actor look good, I thought, it never occurred to me that color is almost a distraction when it comes to seeing actors.
Well, particularly dramatic stories, yeah, it is, because you're distracted by the color of the eyes, the hair, the complexion. I mean, Sybil, nobody saw Sybil in color until The Heartbreak Kid, which she's staggering. In this, she looks beautiful, but she isn't staggering,
You can see the planes, you can see the outlines, you can see the planes of the face. There's something that reduces actors to their sort of gorgeous essence in a way.
Well, it also color prettifies. Orson said every performance, he said, you know what I call black and white? No, what do you call black and white? The actor's friend. Why do you say that, Orson? Because every performance looks better in black and white. Name me a great performance in color. I dare you. Okay, I wasn't going to go there. But it's true, the great performances tend to be in black and white.
Well, when Gordon Willis lit The Godfather, it's almost black and white, it's so dark. So
it's so dark you can't see them most of the time. Yeah. That helps.
You love actors, don't you? You love their faces.
I love working with actors. For me, the movie is made when I'm making it with the actors. That's the fun of it, and that's the collaboration that I most enjoy.
But I noticed, though, you love them, but you don't kill them with love the way some directors do. You don't overuse the close-up. You always contextualize their performances and their bodies.
Well, they're all part of an overall scheme, and the director's the only one who should have or could have an overall picture of what's the whole thing's supposed to be, where they fit, and so on. Close-ups are a very important tool, and you don't want to overuse them. They're overused to death now because of television. I mean, everything's in close-up. And Orson had a funny story. He said when he was making Citizen Kane, there's very few close-ups in Citizen Kane. And he'd do a lot of shots without a cut. And he would threaten the actors, now you better do this right or we're going to have to do a close-up. Which is perverse, but accurate. And the reason people loved Sergio Leone is because he did so many huge close-ups. 2 big green eyes, as he would say.
But you appreciated them because he also did those extreme long shots. And so when he cut to a close-up, it was like you were looking at monuments.
Yeah. Well, I haven't got the big fondness for Sergio Leone that others have. Maybe because I knew him.
Well, now, egocentricity and megalomania is not the worst thing you can say about a great director, is it?
No, that's true.